What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. We're going to continue with 2021 schedule preview and predictions on this Tuesday evening for most of you guys. And hey, we're going to be talking about the Utah Utes. This is a very interesting team coming into 2021. Again, we're starting to get into those teams where you could go one way or the other. So hey, if you enjoy this video or you are a Utah fan, please do leave a like or hit that subscribe button, or hey, maybe even do both. Helps me out a lot. We're so close to 250 subscribers, at least as of recording this video. I'm recording this one a day in advance. So hey, if you guys are new, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. I try to have a lot of fun here, giving you guys college football content. Hey, I just love the sport. And leave a comment down below. Again, just be mindful of what you say. Keep it PG, please. You can disagree, but please disagree politely. Without further ado, let's talk about Utah in 2021. And this is the team that there's no easy way to put it, has to replace a lot. There were some things that happened in the offseason, maybe even during the season last year, that were just horrible. We'll talk about one player in particular. And then otherwise, Utah's just losing talent. Now, they did dive into the transfer portal, though, and we'll look at that here in a little bit, but we got to look at the talent they lost, and I'm going to call one player out right away. And there's no easy way to talk about this, and I could make an entire video on how good this kid was going to be. Ty Jordan tragically lost his life, and there's no easy way that's going to be able to segue from this. I just feel like it deserves to be mentioned in this video by me at some point, because I was covering only the Big Ten last year because it was easiest and less stressful for me in a season that was as weird as ever. I had overlooked him, and I didn't really talk about it. It's hard. I believe the kid was 19. So my thoughts and prayers go out to Utah fans, Ty Jordan's family, especially when it happened back then. So, of course, gone off the running back group, but he was going to be an absolute stud. I could feel it, and I feel sorry that. I mean that's just horrible. No one should ever have to go through something like that. So, rest in peace, Ty Jordan. There's no easy way to segue from this, but I'm going to try to keep it lighthearted and cheerful. Also leaving the running back group is Jordan Wilmore and Devin Brumfield. So those three guys were going to have some major impacts this year, and they are gone. Jake Bentley gone at quarterback. I believe he was a former South Carolina transfer. Don't worry, they dug into the transfer portal again to get a quarterback. We'll look at that here in a little bit. Also dug into the transfer portal to get some running backs. Hey, Brian Thompson and Samson Naquar gone. Sorry if I said that last name wrong. Off the wide receiver group. Also, some defensive linemen leaving: Mufi Hunt, Pita Tonga, linebacker Sion Lund, and defensive back Bronson Boy. All those guys are gone off the team this year. But hey, it's not about what you lost. It's about what you have. And this offense can be really explosive this year. They're getting Charlie Brewer at quarterback, and we all know what he did at Baylor in 2019. If he can have a season like that, man, Utah is going to be really, really good. TJ Pledger coming over from Oklahoma, and Chris Curry coming over from LSU. I had previously mentioned that Chris Curry was transferring to Louisiana. That is incorrect. It's Chris Smith that's at Louisiana. So probably you could see how I got mixed up there. But it's okay. Chris Curry, TJ Pledger are going to be that number 1, number 2 running back over here at Utah, along with Britton Covey there at wide receiver. And Utah's got one of the best tight ends in the nation, in my opinion, and Brant Keithy. Going to be an NFL draft pick, or should be at least. He is a really good player. Got a couple defensive linemen coming back. Of course, one listed, some are not. One of the best, and I believe underrated running backs in the nation, in Devin Lloyd. This guy's gone for 100 tackles in past seasons, and he's a fantastic player. Nephi Sewell coming back as well, along with Clark Phillips, Vontae Davis in the defensive backing group. Again, other names you can throw out here if you want, but this offense has the potential to be really, really explosive. If Charlie Brewer can play like he did in 2019, if Chris Curry can get to the height, I know he can. I know Chris Curry can be a good running back. He never just quite made it up there at LSU. I know in my LSU video I talked about how he could have been number 1 option. No, that was incorrect. Didn't do my research on LSU. Not my best content. But Chris Curry, I think, can get to some good heights, and we all know what TJ Pledger can do. He's done some good things there at Oklahoma. So this can be a really, really potent offense. here's the schedule for Utah. They were 3-2 last year. I don't think their record was indicative of how good they played because they played some really close games, lost some really close games as well. And hey, by my metrics, they were third in the Pac-12 South. Of course, didn't play in a bowl game. Hey, I'm going to talk about some games more than others. They're more interesting matchups to me. If the day gets highlighted in green, it's a win. If it gets highlighted in red, it's a loss. Without further ado, talking about Utah in 2021. What better place to start than the first game of the season? And they're going to kick it off with Weber State. So the Bobcats coming in to town, and they're going to get throttled. Weber State, pretty solid FCS team, but in terms of talent, when you compare them to Utah, just not close. I have the Utes winning that game. Here's where things already get interesting for Utah. I know this Utah team has some really good heights, but when you look at their next two games, neither of these games are going to be pushovers. BYU is on the schedule as usual every year, well, except last year, of course, but last year was what it was. BYU returning a lot of talent. Now, I know it might not seem like that, but Tyler Algier coming back at running back. They got some wide receivers coming back as well. We all know Zach Wilson's gone. We know that. We know Zach Wilson is gone. Some pieces on the defense are gone as well. But for the talent that this BYU team still has, BYU is still going to be a really solid team this year, I do believe. I think BYU can get right back to a bowl game. Are they going to be at the undefeated level and people possibly saying like, oh, what if this team can make the college football playoff? No, absolutely not. That would require a Zach Wilson level talent to step in at quarterback, and I just don't think BYU has that. But what I do think BYU has is the ability to beat Utah in this game. It's early in the season. I think Utah's going to be struggling to get their offense going just a little bit, of course, with the new quarterback, new running backs in there as well. I think they drop this one to their rivals, BYU. I think Utah loses this game with it being on the road as well. The stadium could still end up being split, and I'm going to lean the way of the Cougars here in this one. It's early in the season. Utah's probably going to still try to figure out, what their real identity is, who they really are, what kind of football they want to be playing. I think they drop this one. And then with that being said, I do think that they win their next game on the road against San Diego State. San Diego State is not a pushover either. San Diego State has been a solid team in the Mountain West for the past couple of years. Heck, they were even 10-2, 2018, 2019, one of those 2 years. Maybe it was 2017. But San Diego State has been pretty good in the past couple of years. Now, I know they get overlooked by, of course, Boise State, because Boise State's always going to be there. This year, I think Nevada might even be able to overlook. I don't think a lot of people are talking about Nevada. I think Nevada's going to be really good. I am going to do a schedule preview and prediction on them for the Nevada Wolfpack. So stay tuned if you like Mountain West football. But for San Diego State, it's still a really solid team. I just think Utah is going to get their offense going a little bit better. I think they're going to learn from that BYU game. They're going to adapt to some things and get their offense rolling. Have that one as a win. Washington State. Washington State, of course, is going to be without Mike Leach. Again, he went over to Mississippi State. And for Washington State, hey, you return Max Borghi. You also return some other talent on the offense and defensive sides. But all in all, I just don't see this team doing anything sort of special. I have this one as an easy win for the Utah Utes. And then they get their bye week before what are going to be their two hardest games of the season, or at least two of their hardest games of the season. There are a lot of hard games on the schedule for Utah. A road game against the USC Trojans. I get a home game in the next one. Road game against the USC Trojans, and historically, Utah has, had USC's number. I don't pay too much attention to, how many times they've beaten them in the past, although it does intrigue me a little bit. Utah a couple years ago went on the road, played in the Coliseum, and beat them. And that was when USC was still like, USC, they're coming back up. I believe it was 2018, 2019, probably 2019. And then last year, Utah played them fairly close. I think USC ended up winning the game by 16 points, but that was not indicative of how close the game actually was. With that all being said, I think USC makes some major improvements this year. Hey, the offensive line. When I talked about it in my USC video, I kind of overlooked the offensive line as it's a concern, but not as concerning about the defense. After reading some more and listening to some comments, is that USC video, I think, is over 1,000 views. So thank you for that. USC, they got some spots to fill on the offensive line. which means that if TJ Pledger, Chris Curry can get going for Utah, it could be a long day for USC fans. But I do think that USC ends up pulling off the win here. Hey, Keaton Slovis is just really good. They got a wide receiver in Drake London as well. Running back should be plentiful at USC as well. I think USC gets that offense going. That defense steps up a little bit, gets USC this win. A road game, or excuse me, now this is the home game. Man, now this is the home game against Arizona State. There was some controversy by myself in the Arizona State video. I've not heard a lot in the comment section, but I put Arizona State at 10-2 based on prior videos. I think Arizona State's more like a 9-3 team, but hey, and this is the game that I had Arizona State losing, which means I have Utah winning the game. I just think Utah's defense is going to be too strong here. I think Utah's defense is going to step up. They're going to make some plays, and I think no matter which way you slice it, I think Utah splits those two games. So if you want to have them losing to Arizona State and then beating USC, go ahead. I just think this is the more likely scenario where Utah loses the USC and then beats Arizona State. I'm going to talk about this one real quickly, a road game against Oregon State. Hey, Oregon State's a team that's trending on the up and up, but it feels like this year they're going to kind of flatline at what they did last year. Oregon State, solid team, but I do have Utah winning the game. Then a home game against UCLA, and this is where things got interesting for me. This is really where things got interesting for me. UCLA is going to be a solid team this year. Hey, I think people are overlooking UCLA. Chip Kelly, we saw signs of improvement last year. UCLA dug their hands into the transfer portal. They got Zach Charbonnet to pair with Demetric Felton back there at running back. That's the most underrated group of running backs in the country right there. Dorian Thompson-Robinson coming back at quarterback. Some playmakers on the wide receiver end, on the defensive end. UCLA, of course, we have to see that defense improve now, right? If that defense improves, then UCLA could be a really solid team. Maybe even could contend in the Pac-12. But as of right now, I see I see Utah playing just a little bit better at football than UCLA. So I do have the Utah Utes winning that game. All right, now they get a road game against Stanford. So Stanford, I know they just lost Davis Mills. I said this in every Pac-12 preview I've done, but I still feel like Stanford can be a sneaky good team this year. Do I have them competing for a Pac-12 title? Not really. Maybe Stanford could pull off an upset here or there. Is this the one? Is this one where Stanford gets them? I wanted to pick it, but no. And here's the reason why. I do think it comes down to quarterback play. And without Davis Mills, that's huge. And with Charlie Brewer coming in for Utah, we all know what good he can do for this Utah program. If he plays well, it's going to be a solid team for Utah, especially if the defense can step up, if Devin Lloyd can help implore his guys, be a leader, make some plays. I don't think Utah's going to have a problem beating Stanford here on a Friday night. Now, I know we're going to see a lot of teams lose on the road Friday night in a year that home field advantage might flourish, because this is the first time that fans are going to be back allowed. Home field advantage might flourish this year. With that being said, still have Utah winning the game. I'll also have Utah beating Arizona. Look, Arizona is nothing special. Not really a great team in the Pac-12 by any stretch. Probably the worst team in the Pac-12, I think, by most people's metrics. Yeah, Utah should win the game. And this is one that I also really wanted to pick. I really wanted to pick the upset here. Really wanted to pick Utah to beat Oregon. I just can't do it. I think Oregon's most likely loss is Washington. That they're on that schedule. And for Oregon, they're going to be a solid team. Losing some guys, yes, are the Oregon Ducks. But hey, when you look at what they have coming back, Anthony Brown maybe is that starting quarterback. I don't know quite yet, but you still have CJ Verdell, Travis Dye, some wide receivers coming back as well. Oregon's going to be a solid team this year. Hey, have you looked at how they've skyrocketed in the polls? I mean, they've looked really good in spring and summer camp. I think Oregon gets this win against the Utah Utes. And then I think Utah bounces back and beats Colorado. Colorado a couple weeks ago just lost Sam Neuer to the transfer portal. Yeah, I mean, when you look at what Colorado did last year, I mean, hey, they were a pretty solid team. I don't know how much that continues in 2021. I have Utah beating Colorado. And with that being said, 3 games highlighted in red means I have Utah going 9-3. Now, I do think that 9-3 is my prediction, and I think it's a safe prediction. I've seen people that have Utah 10-2, and I think that's that absolute ceiling. I think that is the ceiling for Utah when you look at the schedule. You have a road game against USC. It's going to be hard. Arizona State's going to be hard. UCLA, Oregon, they're going to give you some fights. Even Stanford on the road could be tricky. And then you got 2 interesting road games right away, BYU and San Diego State. So some interesting games on the schedule for Utah. Of course, that floor for me is 6-6, and maybe not even a floor. It's kind of your absolute worst case scenario. Hey, I mean, if transfers don't work out, Charlie Brewer isn't the same. TJ Pledger, Chris Curry, they're not the same. Wide receivers and Brant Keithy can't get it going. The defense takes steps back. Utah could be in for a miserable season. But my prediction for the Utah Utes is 9-3. And that's going to do it for my preview and prediction for the Utah Utes. If you guys enjoyed this video and you are a Utah fan, leave a like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. You can leave a comment down below. Just be mindful of what you say. Keep it PG. And hey, tomorrow I do believe we're going to be talking about the Virginia Tech Hokies. So if you're a Virginia Tech fan watching this video for some reason, hey, look out for that one. Virginia Tech, can they compete in the ACC? Maybe bounce back. You're going to find out tomorrow. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys tomorrow. Again, it's turkey time. Goodbye.